Hi, class. This is my week 9 response to the readings and reflections. So this week we were talking about ethical standards in research, which is something that I've had the pleasure of reading about and studying in my undergrad, doing clinical psychology research. But it really kind of made me check myself in a way because I never really thought about vulnerable populations and I guess community samples for the most part, um, having such a need for strong ethical, um, you know, standards and also regulation. And, I learned that even work I've done in the past, it's still productive to go back and think, did I do everything as ethically possible? So what I liked about the readings this week, especially like the homosexual reading and the Tuskegee experiment, I think these studies kind of were examples of where ethics were called into question. There were some violations of, it seems, course of nature, violation of, human rights. I mean, homosexuality is not a disease, as we, all know today, but I think it's interesting that 1950 is not really that long ago, and that was a study that was occurring. But one thing I always kind of think about is it's a classic example is the Milgram experiment, which is an experiment on the concept of authority. And if someone's wearing a lab coat and they ask you to do something for an experiment, you're more likely to do it and follow authority. So they convinced participants that they were shocking an individual in the other room. And of course, the study calls into question ethics, and they teach a lot of like psychology 101 courses on this example. And it's I can't imagine how long it would take for me in doing like a C-bump project to think about ethics, because I am interested in vulnerable populations from a mental health standard lens, I guess, if you will, framework. And it it's really making me think a lot about my present work, my past work. So this week was really intriguing because I think it kind of pieces together all the sensitivities to studying vulnerable populations, homeless, LGBTQ, chronically ill. I think, even we're still even seeing stigma around HIV positivity, with Charlie Sheen and all that stuff. I've seen some very stigmatizing posts on, some a chronic illness, and there's still ethics that have to be established, I guess. So the readings and then just examples that I'm seeing in the world today and my work, I mean, it just confirms the need that ethical standards and regulation is very important. And I think we are going to continue to adapt them, because as time goes on and research goes on, and hopefully more and more human rights are acknowledged, I think we're going to run into new questions of what's ethically you know sustainable, but also like ethically correct, whatever that is. So just wanted to do a video response. I think again, ethics are something that should be carried out throughout the life of a research project. Continue to question yourself as a researcher and also an ally. And yeah, I look forward to reading everyone else's responses. Have a good week. Happy Thanksgiving too.